Hello, everybody. This is Teacher Levy. Today, I am in a cafe and I wanted to film a slow English video about about going from B2 level to C1 level. Notice a coffee shop we can call a cafe. I am in the cafe or in a cafe. These videos are designed for intermediate to advanced level learners who are looking to perfect their listening comprehension or improve their pronunciation. Today, I'll share 4 tips or 4 keys for going from a B2 level to a C1 level in English. I will also share that I have lessons available on italki, one-on-one classes if you would like to speak with me directly. Also, I have an Instagram where sometimes I share exclusive content. Notice content. Exclusive means it cannot be found everywhere. So, both links will be in the description. The first step or the first key for going from B2 to a C1 level is versatility. Notice versatility. We can practice saying versatility. Versatility means adaptability. To be able to adapt, we can say adaptability. So I have a lemonade, and versatility means I would be able to describe a drink, a lemonade, or getting a lemonade from the cafe in different ways. You could say, I got a drink, or I was at a cafe and I ordered a drink. I went to the counter and I requested a lemonade. Of course, some of these are better than the others, but it is good practice to find different ways or different routes. A route is a way. Usually, routes we say for directions of how to get somewhere. Take this route. Also, sometimes people say route instead of route. Both pronunciations are fine, but the point is to find different ways to express ideas. The fourth key, notice fourth, the fourth key will be similar to the first key, but let me go in order. The second key I call back to the basics. Back to the basics means you review the fundamentals. The fundamentals means the basics. Going back and reviewing grammar rules, especially prepositions and articles. Notice articles. I have students who are at an advanced level, yet they still make very simple mistakes with prepositions and articles, either using the wrong ones or not using them at all. Of course, it depends what is your native language. I am aware that some languages don't use articles, or they don't use articles the same way as we do in English. So, going back to the basics and reviewing the rules for when to use the preposition, for example, to, or the preposition from or on, go back and review those. A tool, notice tool. A tool for this is a grammar book, either physical or online. There are millions. Millions is an exaggeration. An exaggeration means you are saying something that is not real. The number is too high. It is maybe thousands of textbooks, online and offline, physical books, where you can review the different tenses, prepositions, articles. This is boring. I personally dislike. To dislike is to not like. I dislike grammar, but it is one of the keys. So, listening, writing, reading all help with gathering grammar knowledge, but talking about a textbook, it can really solidify. To solidify is to make solid your foundation. A foundation is a base, your foundation. Let's move on to key number 3, or the third tip or step, which is to speak in pictures. A lot of times we say something is cold or something is very big, but I recommend for you to use metaphors. It is as big as a mountain. It is as cold as ice. This way, when you are speaking, you are painting a picture, or painting, you are painting a picture in the mind of the listener. The 3 focuses for the third step, notice third step, are metaphors, idioms, and analogies. I will perhaps make a future video on common idioms, but I think I have mentioned a few in previous videos randomly. For example, call the shots. To call the shots is to make the decisions. The decision maker is the shot caller. At work, that person might, notice might, be your boss, or in the family, it might be your father. He calls the shots, and he is the shot caller. A analogy I would like to give for an example is swimming against the current. In a river, we have a current. A current is the way the water is flowing. If something is very difficult, or if there is a opinion, it could be a conversation which is very one-sided, and you are going up against that opinion or that thought, it can be like swimming against the current, which means you are facing adversity. Adversity is difficulty. You are swimming up against the current. You are facing difficulty. It is more difficult than normal. Another analogy I thought about, notice about, was climbing up Mount Everest without equipment. Notice climbing up, silent B, climbing up Mount Everest without equipment. So without tools, shoes, or gear, ropes, which you need for climbing a mountain. Notice mountain. That is an analogy. that something, again, is very challenging. Notice challenging or difficult, and you don't have the right tools to do the job or to do what you need to do correctly. Maybe you should have tools, but you don't. So it is a more complicated process. A recommendation I have for idioms, metaphors, or analogies is to talk about your surroundings. For example, there were storms recently in the summer. When there are changes in the weather, there can be storms, hailstorms. Hail is when it rains ice, that is hail. And we can have a hail storm, for example, or hurricanes. But let's say where you live, notice it is very windy outside. You can say, it was so windy yesterday, it felt like a hurricane. Of course, it wasn't a hurricane, but the analogy is that it was very windy and perhaps some branches or trees or things fell because of the wind. Try to paint these pictures using your surroundings. If something is very dry, you can say it is, or it is like the Sahara or Sahara desert because it is so dry. Perhaps there's nothing green, no greenery there, so it seems like a desert. The last key or tip is the synonyms game. I call this the synonyms game because you will look for different synonyms for words which you already use. For example, if you are in a bad part of town, a bad area, you can say a bad part of town, there might be a fight where two people are fighting. Notice fighting, we can say fighting. And instead of saying I saw a fight, you can say I saw a brawl. A brawl is a fight. I saw a brawl. For example, you can also say I was running or I was jogging. A good tip or tool, again, tool, is a thesaurus. A thesaurus is a dictionary for synonyms. So it gives you words which are similar to each other. You can again find online thesauruses or physical books from the library, notice library, or from your bookstore. They should have a thesaurus. One example I can share for those people who drive or drive a car, instead of saying I was driving down the street, you can say I was cruising down the road. A lot of times we can say cruising for driving. I was cruising down the road. Street and road are similar words. Often they are used interchangeably. Road is a more general term. You can have a dirt road or a road in the forest. Usually, a street is found in a town or in a city. That is what we call a street. So, you can also use them interchangeably if you are trying to practice using synonyms. So, I hope you found these helpful. Try to take notes and review these. Try to practice them on a day-to-day basis, which means every day. The synonyms: get a thesaurus, write vocabulary with idioms, metaphors, analogies. Thank you for the tips, the suggestions. I will also likely do a live stream in the near future. So keep on the lookout or pay attention. I will try to post about it on YouTube before I do it. Thank you for your support. If you like these videos, then feel free to subscribe and like, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.